Personally, I think Moonpo on Chain Chomps is a little worse, and we are off. We have PRD starting in Link's house and immediately pulling out a glove. We have Salty starting up in the Dark Chapel, which is the replacement for Sanctuary.
Now, because of the inverted seed, a couple of items have changed as far as what is absolutely necessary. I've actually seen seeds in inverted where Titan's Mitt is not necessary. So a lot of things change from what you're used to. So you really want to keep an eye out on all the runners and see how fantastic their not only their new routing is, but also their execution.
And so we see PRD going up to check Bumper Cave. Only looks like 50 rupees. I am surprised that he didn't use the gloves that he just got in order to farm bombs, because that arrow next to the Dark Sanctuary actually has 5 50-50 bomb chances. It's one of the best places to farm bombs in early inverted.
And it might be something he's going back to, but it looks like they both had the exact same thought of, let's go to School Woods, let's see what items are in there, let's farm the bombs there, and see what we can get out of this.
The strategy of dying in order to farm bombs repeatedly is not one that I've seen before. That is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I have to say it's my first time seeing it as well, but it seems to be working out for them pretty well. Instead of the 50-50 chances, they just get those bomb drops immediately, and I'll take the 100% over the 50 anytime.
So we did get a map check immediately after starting, and I believe that based on our tracker, we currently have a green pendant Turtle Rock, which is always a wonderful thing to see. We have pendant Misery Mire and Thieves Town, and I don't see the red crystals. I think Ice Palace is a red crystal, though.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing with Ice Palace being a red crystal, with Turtle Rock and Mire being pendant dungeons. I'm thinking we're definitely going to see at least a dip into Turtle Rock, but we'll see what the seed gives us.
And Hype Cave being 5 quick checks is usually a very high priority location in inverted. And here we pick up the flute, although that is the only thing that we get here. And the flute is actually currently not of any use to us because it has to be activated in the light world.
Yeah, I'm with you. 1 out of 10 hype, not so hype.
Oh, and I was just reminded that this is an all dungeon seed, which I forgot about, as I do whenever I'm playing all dungeons. So we are going to see all of these pendant dungeons completed.
You're correct. We're so used to seeing the normal Ganon strats that we're definitely have to go all dungeons. Let's see what the seed gives us as far as what exactly it wants us to do. So PRD checking hint tile here, new for version 30. Hint tiles can be great resources for people who use them, or they can be truly goodness that change your routing and end up costing you some time. In this case, he got a hint that's saying the arrows are held by someone friendly. Not something amazing, but at least it gives you a little bit of information that you didn't have before.
And here we see Salty showing off his arrow skills. This archery game is one of the best ways to farm money early in an inverted seed, because there is a consistent strat for getting the maximum 104 profit out of the game, as is being demonstrated right here. All you have to do is stand next to the guy and fire up when the little octopus reaches the second curtain from the right, and you will get your hit every single time. And it looks like PRD is heading to do the same thing right now. And the digging game prize was a single rupee.
Gotta love that digging game single rupee prize. At least it didn't make him dig 30 times for it.
LP are digging a couple of extra times in order to get the money for entering Palace of Darkness and to do the chest game.
We see a bloopy and C-shaped house over here, so let's see if Village of Outcast has something a little bit more robust for us than a flute that we can't touch and a glove that doesn't give us much here in the Dark World. So far, the team seems kind of light with some of the items. Kind of wondering where the progression's going to start coming in. Maybe it's in Thieves Town.
Or it could be right there with that bow. Actually, bow doesn't unlock anything right now, so it's not particularly useful.
But at least, hey, wow, what a find just to at least have that bow with you. It does also offer them a little bit of protection.
And I think that's the progression we were looking for with that hammer. I'm wondering if the jump off there was intentional and jumping into the red guy. It doesn't look like it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you would try to go back to the beginning there. I understand now you have hammer and bow. The thought is immediately, man, pod is just stacked with items. Let's go there. But you still have a couple chests left in the beginning of Thieves Town, and you're definitely going to want to check those out. And even though hammer blind isn't exactly easy, I don't think that this is something that's going to be really hard for Fry or PRD.
I mean, I still find it pretty difficult, but clearly I'm not at the caliber of these runners since I'm not even in the tournament.
I'm with you there, man. Three heart blind would make me cry.
I can do 3-heart blind, but I need a sword.
You're better off than I am.
And so here we have our route divergence. PRD is going to presumably Palace of Darkness, since he is save quitting to Link's house. Meanwhile, Salty is going to continue progressing through Pendant Thieves Town.
Now, do you think this is a comfort kind of play? You know, Fry feels comfortable with being able to 3-heart, hammer strat, blind. PRD kind of wants to see a little more of the overworld, or do you think it's just he wants to have more of the progression, more of what the seed wants from him?
Considering the bow that both runners now have, I would honestly say that going through both of their minds is probably, well, Palace of Darkness is probably the answer. It might be because Salty does not want to isolate the Thieves Town locations, because leaving Pendant Thieves, having only checked the first 4 chests, you don't really want to go back there.
And that's the logic I agree with. I mean, you're going to have to end up doing all dungeons anyway. You're here, you're going to be able to get all the chests with the hammer. Leaving just wouldn't be the first thing on my mind.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot it was all dungeons again.
That's what you have me here for. I've got your back. That's also a really good point. Let's hope the runners remember all the way through that it's all dungeons.
Whenever I play all dungeons, I have to name my files, like, do all the dungeons, just to make sure I don't forget.
Like writing yourself a sticky note and hanging on your monitor, hey, you're doing all dungeons.
Yeah, I tend to default into the defeat Ganon playstyle. Once I was doing a pedestal seed, and I got to Ganon, and he told me that my goal was at the pedestal, and I was very upset.
Yeah, that would hurt. Moon Pearl in Thieves Town. Wow.
That play definitely working out for Salty then. I honestly can't imagine PRD wanting to go back at it like anytime soon, considering he just completely bailed out of Thieves. That could put Salty in the lead, considering that is now White World access.
Right, and if he finds any kind of progression, it might be a long time before he goes back to that Thieves Town. And the hint letting us know the purple chest is next to useless, only keeping a piece of heart, totally not worth the time investment.
And yeah, here we have the terrifying 3-heart hammer blind. Let's see how Salty handles this. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
That's alright, I'm sure that he's gonna get back in there and try it again.
I wouldn't be too sure about that. Because the refight of blind is a lot harder, because blind starts closer to the top wall, makes it a lot harder to get in hits on the head. So I absolutely do not blame him for leaving that until later. Especially when he just got Moon Pearl, so that opens up so many potential checks in the Light World.
I was about to say Moon Pearl, gloves, hammer. He's got all the checks in the Light World ready to go. He could buff himself up a little bit before going straight to blind. He at least has that Moon Pearl that, you know, was the most important thing in that Thieves Town.
So it looks to me like Salty is just going to go through the pretty standard Light World overworld checks, probably complete Eastern Palace in the process.
I mean, Eastern Palace would definitely be there. These runners will have absolutely no problem with the Dark Room in Eastern Palace. It's one of the first things you learn when you're running Randomizer. You got to complete it anyway. On the way, you get Saha, so you get another extra three chests. It definitely seems like this would be the play to make for him. Not to mention that right afterwards, you go down, you hit that portal, you finish pod, you have everything you need for pod. 2 quick dungeons right out the way, right out the gate.
I mean, you can't hit the portal in inverted. You're gonna have to use the mirror in order to get from Eastern to pod quickly. Because this is inverted, we have all of our portals essentially worked in reverse. So that portal that led from the Dark World to the Light World is going to be true of every other portal in the game as well.
You are completely correct. I forgot it was inverted for a moment.
All right, well we'll cover both of the modes together. You cover all dungeons, I'll cover inverted. We're good.
You got it, man.
Purely debating whether to go into the Dark Maze without almost anything to indicate his position except for a hammer and 3 hearts. That is quite scary.
This is a very tough situation to find yourself in the Dark Maze with. Usually the runners at least like to have the sword, have that glimmer, able to follow them where it goes, but he seems pretty confident in his own abilities to make it through the maze, which is pretty amazing.
And he got both of the items in the Dark Maze, which were both bloopies, and unfortunately does not survive to the big chest. And it looks like he's just going to bail. I respect that, because the big chest is lamp locked. You're going to get it when you come back to the dungeon. Anyway, probably not entirely confident in doing the turtle room in the dark without the fire rod and with 3 hearts.
Yeah, that turtle room can definitely be a troll if you don't have the lamp or a fire rod, with those turtles having to be hit to move onto their back and then hit again with the hammer to take them down. I don't blame him at all.
Meanwhile, on the left, we have Salty cleaning up Kakariko Village. I've noticed that in Inverted, Kakariko Village tends to have a little bit less of the progression that you might normally expect, simply because it is no longer Sphere 1 location. Plus, we also get to activate the flute, which is a nice bonus.
So without finding that progression, PRD did decide to come directly right back to Thieves Town, which is really nice for him. It's not going to put him as far behind as one would think, with finding some kind of progression in Pod and being driven astray. So also just a couple notes for hard mode. The silver arrows only work in Ganon's room, so no using them on Vitreous or to take down any Ghettos or anything like that. On top of it, hard mode, the most you can find are 14 hearts, blue tunic, and tempered sword as the highest progressions for your armor, your sword, and your life.
Kakariko so far has turned out to be just a bunch of garbage, honestly. And just as I say that, the fire rod shows up.
Commentator curse. It's real.
Was that the fire rod or the ice rod? The tracker marks it as ice rod, but I think I saw the fire rod. I'm not sure.
I thought I saw the fire rod as well. I guess we're gonna have to wait until he opens his menu here.
POD took a death up here trying to read the hint tile, so he had to backtrack all the way from the front, and now dealing with these frustrating green rat things at 1 heart. It's a pretty rough situation to be in.
Absolutely, and they do 2 hearts of damage with you with green tunic, so they're one of the more frustrating enemies to see here, and their path is completely random. Meanwhile, we did find Quake Medallion down in the Lost Woods, as well as the Bloopy. Bloopy was left alone. The Quake Medallion was picked up by saltyphry here, so he's going to go check Sanctuary Chest, see what wonders Zelda's holding back there. And then I'm guessing back of Escape.
With that key, Salty might backtrack through Escape, using the possibly fire rod that was picked up in order to see more easily. But first, we come across one of those geography changes. This graveyard ledge, usually you'd have to mirror to it, but in Inverted, we wanted to make all of the locations accessible. So we just added a nice staircase. Now Graveyard Ledge is no longer a terrible location.
Yep, there's a couple of changes like that in version 30. The ones I can think of right off the bat are Checkerboard Cave area has been flattened out so that you can go directly there in the Light World, as well as the Cave 45 area. Death Mountain also has a couple of ladders that have been added. I'm sorry, stairs, ladders, one of the two, that have been added to the Dark World side and the Light World side as well. So not much for him in the back of Escape there either. He finds the map, which means that the rest of the chests are at least going to have something in them. Whether or not it'll be of any use is anyone's guess. As well as Fisher Price's My First Shield.
Okay, confirmation that it was indeed the fire rod that was picked up in Kakariko. And putting that fruit to good use in the Dark World, we have now modified the fruit so that it works in the Dark World instead of the Light World. And so we have Salty heading over to Flute 5, probably to go to Sahasrara and Eastern Palace. Meanwhile, PRD has picked up the Moon Pearl in Thieves Town, so now he has a Light World access as well.
Yeah, we're going to see him do a lot of the checks that saltyphry has already done. saltyphry finding the only armor upgrade that he's going to find for the rest of this run, making things a little bit nicer, especially running around with 5 hearts, though he is in the Light World now, so it's not as big of a deal. But we are going to see PRD doing a lot of the checks that saltyphry has already done, and finding some of the same things. So really we're looking at saltyphry to see where exactly the progression is going to come and if anything is useful in Eastern. So as far as inverted seeds go, Moon Pearl was in a pretty good place. Glove was free. Hammer was pretty easy. You got to be thinking the runner's got to be feeling pretty good about this. I think the only decision that I feel has been questionable so far would be PRD leaving Thieves Town, but otherwise the runners have to be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yep, we've got a decent amount of progression so far. No sword yet, but I'm sure our runners don't really need it as of this moment. Probably quite comfortable with all the dark rooms. Plus, the Salty has the fire rod, which allows him to light up the torches so that he can see.
Absolutely. It'll also make him feel a whole lot more comfortable if we don't find the lamp on the way to pod. Feel more comfortable with that turtle room down at the bottom of pod. The strangest thing about inverted seats to me is all the normal Sphere 1 locations having next to nothing. I mean, Mini Moldorm Cave was just barren.
And that was a sword, I believe.
We have a sword.
Salty just barely remembering to check that hint tile.
And all the hint tiles letting him know that the shovel spot is pretty much useless. Now that ice rod cave check is one that I don't believe saltyphry did. So he's going to have an extra heart container at the end of all this when making these checks. Also, with the route that he's currently taking, looks like he's going to do Fake Flipper here and see maybe what the Hobo has and maybe what the Waterfall has as well. Meanwhile, we have saltyphry getting the big key out of Eastern Palace, working his way over into the back to slay the Armos Knights.
picking up the first bottle in the Eastern Palace Big Chest. Although it is going to be a little bit difficult to rat in Stick Kid, considering that our flute now works in the Dark World instead, so that might make it a touch more difficult to get that location cleanly.
Yeah, with the way that Salty Fry is already routed, Stick Kid is going to be just a little bit out of his way. Thieves Town, well, I mean, he does need to finish Thieves Town, so maybe when he goes back to kill Blind, if he has the mirror, it's something that he does immediately.
And here we have PRD checking the back of Escape before the Sanctuary, so he doesn't have the small key that was in the Sanctuary chest, so he can't go backwards through Escape right away. And Salty with a very nice Armor's quick kill, picking up the first crystal at about 26 minutes in.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful boss fight. Definitely, if that's something that you are looking to practice, Salty Fry, check out his streams, check out PRD's streams. They're great people to watch just for tips and routing decisions, things that they've done so far in the games that they're excellent at.
So here we have Salty heading over to Palace of Darkness, while PRD is retracing Salty's steps through Kakariko and the Lost Woods. But in reverse, which is interesting, but probably won't really make a difference in the time it takes or what he comes out with. So Salty here is coming into Palace of Darkness, equipped with the bow and the hammer, but also with the fire rod and a sword, which will probably enable him to complete it much more confidently.
Yeah, when you were mentioning the time loss, the only thing I could think of is, PRD has to go back, double to the pod, whereas Salty, with hopefully everything going correctly, he's going to be able to do it all in one shot, putting him in a much better position. PRD also just picked up the one thing of note that we found in Kakariko, which would be the fire rod. I haven't seen or heard him activate the flute yet.
No, he's not activated yet. I assume it will be just after the bottle vendor.
All salutes out for that swag duck, getting that flute activated. The national anthem of Hyrule. So as we see a lot of them just retracing each other's steps here, we haven't seen a couple of items left in pod, but let's say they haven't gotten any more items. What is your next step after this?
I would head to Death Mountain. We have the flute, which means that we can access Death Mountain within logic. There aren't too many things to get there. Old Man is out of logic. Anything on Light World, Death Mountain, except Spectacle Rock Cave would be out of logic. But we can go to Super Bunny Cave. I am not seeing anything else that is immediately obvious, but apparently PRD has the shovel, and I have no idea where he pulled it out from.
I did not see the shovel either.
But I think that Salty got the hint that there is nothing to be gotten from digging up from the dig, and PRD did not, because I think it was an Eastern Palace.
Correct. There's the shovel.
And here we see PRD using that flute to head over to Misery Mire. Now, even if the medallion to enter MM is Quake, which it is, we won't actually be able to really enter the dungeon because we don't have boots or hookshot, which we need one of those to cross the gap.
Correct, and we are seeing brand new checks here in the Mire area with the Mire Shed. Just a lot of money. Hiding those progression items really well.
Salty pulling up the gold bee in Palace of Darkness in the Dark Maze, which kills the enemies to make it a lot safer, and also kind of hovers around the character to sort of tell you where you're going to an extent. You do have the sword, so it's not really a big deal. But I do like the bee strats.
The bee strats are fantastic. I especially love when it's used on Mothula during a fighter sword fight.
Yeah, but usually the bee just knocks Mothula into the spikes.
It's just fun to watch the bee fight the moth.
Speaking of Mothula, Mothula's in logic right now. We have Fire Rod and Sword.
That's very true. That might be the next play after this.
And Salty has the blue tunic, which means that he takes half a heart of damage from bombs, takes a lot longer to Death Warp, and it's a lot more expensive on your bomb count. Fortunately, this is Palace of Darkness, so we have bombs basically everywhere, but that still takes a pretty significant amount of time.
It still would make up the time that it would take to go back through the Dark Maze without the land, and then go all the way through the Harmless Hallway. So, at least he went out on there. Alright, and just a refresher for you guys, if you're just joining us, saltyphry, prdwong, two amazing runners. Please feel free to go ahead and follow them. They are currently in the group stages for what I believe is their first match. We have an inverted seed, hard, all dungeons, so we will be seeing every boss being taken down before getting in to include AGA 1 and AGA 2.
And PRD picking up that sword in Eastern Palace.
And the hint that he no longer needs.
The hints, sometimes they're very helpful, sometimes you get the location of the ice rod, and then other times you get, hey, here's a location that you've already gotten. One of the best ones to get, I think, is the hint that says that some item is in the purple chest in Swamp Palace immediately after you've turned in the purple chest.
I do like that one and the fire locked hint during Turtle Rock, if you've already completed Hera. saltyphry putting in an amazing performance here with Helmasaur King. Blink and you missed it. Arrow takedown strat. Let's see what the King has for us. Just a map.
I mean, personally, I would favor hammer strats there, but with 5 hearts, it might be better to be safer than faster.
Oh, absolutely. Taking the death there would spend a whole lot more time than it took just to aim those 6 arrows there. PRD showing off some game knowledge, knows that if you fall down into those lanterns, giant torches, not sure exactly what they are, but if you fall down into them, there are 2 fairies there, just for all you aspiring rando racers, in case you ever find yourself in a spot of low health there in Eastern Palace.
PRD making it through that dark room perfectly fine. Looked a little interesting there with the missed arrow shots and the Igor moving, but he pulled it out just fine.
Yeah, the cleanup was really nice. Now I'm kind of... Oh, Salty looks like he's heading towards the front of Escape, seeing if there's something on the way down to Zelda, so a couple new checks here.
I don't think we've seen the uncle either, so those are an additional 2 checks as well.
PRD setting up for the quick kill here on Armos as well. Let's see if he is able to go through this cleanly. Ooh, just missed the 1 arrow, a little bit too far to the left, but cleans it up really nicely.
And so our winners are basically at the same equipment here, having done a lot of the same checks. Salty is a Palace of Darkness ahead, though just the boss and the big chest. I wonder where PRD is going now. Fluting from Sanctuary, looks like he is heading to Death Mountain.
Looks like he's going to break logic here, get the old man and take the portal over into the light world to drop him off. And then maybe he's thinking Hera, while saltyphry makes his way down to Zelda. Nothing amazing yet found from what I can see. So we'll see where the progression lies, whether it's Death Mountain or here in the front of Escape.
This cave is actually can be really scary and inverted, because we are currently technically in the Dark World. So those bats do their Dark World damage, which is, I think, 2 hearts. So it's actually very easy to get yourself killed while trying to escort the old man through the cave in the dark. The same happens for actually the bats in Agadim's Tower. Usually they deal light world bat damage, which is 1/4 of a heart. But in inverted, they'll do the dark world damage, which is, again, much higher than you might expect.
See, now I didn't know that, and now I'm going to be scared every time I go in there. And Salty finding the flippers here at the bottom, taking a death to warp back up to the front, but the flippers, they do open up a little bit more, give you that waterfall check in logic and everything else, so a little bit more progression available for him. Also, yep, just putting the hobo and waterfall in logic. We also do see saltyphry here working his way towards the chest in the darker room back here in the back of Escape. We know that we already have the key, we already have the map, so there's at least going to be something in here. Whether or not it's progression is going to be seen here shortly.
Oh my, that is an amazing find. The mirror in inverted is, I personally think it's more powerful than it is in your regular game, just because mirroring from light to dark is not really how the game was intended to be played by the original developers, so being able to do that allows you to route checks in a way that I think is a lot more powerful.
What a find. That also puts the first 1, 2, 4 chests in Swamp Palace in logic.
Because everybody loves their hookless Swamp Palace dips. Meanwhile, PRD getting a hint that the magic bat is just a little bit of love.
Hey Espeon, all you need is love, man.
Yeah, but I'm trying to go fast. I don't need love.
Got me there, man.
Looks like PRD is heading over to Escape now as well, so he'll be picking up the mirror as well, so that that early mirror is going to be not quite as powerful. But still, the mirror is such an amazing item to find in inverted.
We saw Waterfall Fairy has a whole lot of nothing. saltyphry does have enough money to pay the Zora King. Sees 20 on the ledge, and we're gonna go gambling. What's your take? You think he's got anything important?
I know, at this point, I might be inclined to say yes, considering we've cleared a bunch of stuff. We don't really have any particular pointers on where to go next, except maybe a Swamp Palace, but nobody wants to do that.
And Skull Woods. And the Master Sword with the fish. I'd pay 500 rupees for a Master Sword.
And so, because this is hard mode, there are technically 4 sword upgrades scattered throughout the game. But once we pick up 3 of them, and we get our tempered sword, that 4th sword upgrade is going to turn into a red rupee. So we can only ever get a maximum of the tempered sword. And now it looks like, armed with the Master Sword, and actually not much more health than he had before, Salty is going to go back to Blind and hopefully defeat Blind.
Yeah, and hopefully he doesn't take a hit here, and he does at least will have beans, and he does take a little bit less damage now with that blue tunic.
I think the blue tunic reduces the contact damage from Blind from 2 hearts to 1 heart, but it does nothing about the fireballs. They'll still deal 1-hearted damage.
Yeah, I mean, with this fight, with him being on top, the one thing I was worried about most would be the contact damage, since you practice so much moving around. Now, Blind did go down amazingly. Great job, saltyphry, giving him the single arrow. What a find.
Oh no. So PRD is leaving Escape, and leaving that chest in the sewers behind. That one with the mirror, which you definitely need to complete the seed, because you need to finish Swamp Palace. That could be a very, very bad thing.
The best he can hope for here is finding the lamp, feeling comfortable, remembering that chest is there, and going back for it. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. That is a rough thing to be leaving behind at this point.
Honestly, even if you pick up the lamp, I still wouldn't go back there because there are just other things to get. The only thing that I could think of that would push him back right away. Oh wait, did PRD not get the back of Escape? I honestly do not remember. Oh no, he's doing Houlihan. Ooh. Except it didn't work. No, PRD, go get it, no!
Trying to will PRD. We do see saltyphry over here heading towards the big bad moth, so we're gonna get to see this fight performed by an expert, much better than if you came in and saw me doing it. Oh, that magic drop was clutch.
And here we see PRD going back to Skullwoods as well, armed with the fire rod and a sword. He can complete the dungeon as well, but lacking the mirror, he can't take the same route that Salty did, because this covers a little bit of routing where you can go over to where the pedestal is, and then use the mirror, takes you from light to dark world, and puts you right in front of the big skull that is the entrance to the final part of Skullwoods. And that way, you don't have to go through the second part of Skullwoods, you can just skip straight to the back.
Not to mention the fight's going to be a little bit harder with him having Fighter Sword versus the Master Sword that saltyphry has. He does have a couple more hearts than Salty does at this point, but I would take the Master Sword over the next couple hearts any day.
Oop, and there's the Wallmaster, of course.
Just coming down to ruin our day. saltyphry did find a key in that chest, able to use the mirror that he has to go directly back to the front, so he's going to be scouring the rest of Skullwoods for, I believe it's an item that he has left behind?
It's probably just one item, I think. Although I think it is more likely that said item is in the big chest, because Mothula is actually locked by 3 keys within the logic. Even though you don't actually need any of those chest keys to get to Mothula, it is sufficient just to use the keys that you get out of the pots and out of the Gibdo. But in any case, Mothula does require 3 keys within the logic, so if you get the big key off of Mothula, you know that a key can't be in the big chest.
And what a find, the Tempered Sword, the last upgrade that he's going to be able to get.
PRD having a rough fight against Mothula. The boss is just not cooperating whatsoever, sticking to the top. You cannot hit Mothula into the spikes or it will nullify your damage. But pulling through, managing to get the kill there with the hammer.
Extremely clutch hit at the end there. Beautifully timed. He would have been hit by that spike there. That was really well done. I expect to see maybe a couple of rage slashes when he finds that Master Sword.
Why would you waste time with rage slashes?
Because it's fun. I looked away for a moment and missed what was on Sick Kid.
It was just a bloopy. Nothing to be worried about.
Now, Espion's mentioned a couple of times how powerful that mirror is here, going from the light world into the dark world, and this is one of the ways that shows it. Currently, saltyphry, what he's attempting to do is mirror into the spot with Jeremiah the Bullfrog, and then taking the portal back. This completely negates needing the Titan's mitts to complete the blacksmith portion of the sequence. A very good game knowledge from saltyphry as far as the inverted mode is concerned, and puts the Titan's mitts just farther back into necessity as for this mode.
Titan's mitts are the worst item in the game anyway.
Do you don't like the golden fingers?
No, I don't like mitts. I'm primarily a runner of glitched categories in which we can just skip the mitts because we don't need them at all. But glitches are not relevant right now. We shall focus on the game at hand.
Absolutely. We're seeing hammer pegs here from saltyphry. See what he gets. Just 10 arrows. Doesn't seem like this has worked out too tremendously.
My question is, where did PRD pull the tempered sword from?
Oh, that was in the... Wait. Where did he pull the tempered sword from? It might have been that there were 2 sword upgrades in Skull Woods, and
the other item was a big 20. I literally have no idea where the other sword was.
Well, the big 20, like you said that the sword turns into a big 20, the 4th sword upgrade.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, that was the other sword. Wow.
No, it's okay. Had I forgotten about it too, I'd have been like, wait, what? So if he does go to the big fish, he's going to be severely disappointed. So we're looking at the items we have: tempered sword, fire rod, gloves. Would you take a dip in the ice palace here?
PRD is not going to be able to get into Ice Palace with his current equipment. He doesn't have the mirror to go from light to dark. But in Inverted, we did actually break down the wall leading into Ice Palace. So you can go there with literally just flippers and fire rod, and Ice Palace is now in logic.
PRD wasting the B to come back and get a B. What a return.
So PRD doesn't actually have the 500 rupees needed to get scammed by Zora, so he is safe-ish for now. Might come back later.
Let's just hope that it's a check that he forgets about, and he'd rather check the dark chest and escape first before coming back to waste his money. Now this is an interesting move by PRD. He's not full on health, so the sword beams are not going to be available to him. There's no reliable way to refill your health, and blind is going to start at the top, so we're either going to see an amazing run here or a little bit of disappointment, and I'm hoping for the amazing run here.
Yeah, he's got 6 hearts. PRD's got this.
Oh!
And he's just gonna go right back and try again.
Don't blame him at all.
He still won't be able to get sword beams, since there's only one guaranteed heart on the way to the boss. He doesn't have the boomerang or the hookshot to double that heart, and it is rather unlikely he'll get a heart drop from one of the enemies.
Now on saltyphry side, we are seeing a new check. We're going to see Super Bunny Cave here, while PRD takes on the Thief. And let's see what Super Bunny Cave has for us today. A hook shot in Super Bunny Cave along with the Magic Cave. Stacked.
Both of which are ironically items that might make blind easier because both of them provide invincibility.
PRD doing a little pause buffering here, seeing exactly where his location is versus fireballs, so as to avoid the death. He's got it. Great comeback fight for PRD. Absolutely fantastic.
Amazing select buffer to blind fight.
That's actually something I've never thought of doing before, but is genius. The dog used pause buffering.
Haha.
I had to, I'm sorry.
And I believe we saw that the Turtle Rock Medallion is Ether, but it turns out that really doesn't matter in inverted because we can just mirror straight into Turtle Rock. So actually Salty does have the hookshot. So he can make his way over to this portal, take the portal to the light world, hookshot his way across the bridge, and then jump down and mirror into Turtle Rock.
God, I love inverted mode.
And I missed what that hint said at the beginning of Ice Palace. Did you catch it?
No, I was watching saltyphry going across that cave. super clean room from PRD there. Absolutely fantastic. We are going to see saltyphry getting here 7 new chests that we haven't seen before, so let's see what other fun things are being held here. We've got a shield upgrade and some more bombs to begin initially, while PRD works his way down towards the bomb jump.
And it should be noted that that is the maximum shield upgrade you can get in hard difficulty, so we will not be seeing the riot shield this run.
One other thing I have not mentioned yet about hard mode, now that you reminded me with that with the shield upgrade, the Cane of Burna no longer gives you invincibility. It just surrounds you with the Fighter Sword Light there, and the Magic Cape is twice as thirsty for magic. So it does make a couple of strats a little bit harder, and you will more than likely need at least a green potion to make it through Spike Cave if you don't have half magic, even maybe with half magic.
The items function as they do in vanilla in Spike Cave. So they will, for example, the cape will drain magic at the normal rate. The Cane of Burna will still grant invincibility.
I did not know that. Thank you for correcting me.
And that is also true in the Spike Room in Ice Palace and the Spike Room in Misery Mire, because those are actually somewhat of a holdover from when we used to require that all logics be completable in OKO mode. But we don't require that anymore. It got separated out. So now there is a separate logic for OKO and non-OKO. But speaking of the items we're getting here, I believe we saw a lamp on the DM floating island.
We sure did.
And we just pulled out the Book of Medora from Laser Bridge. One of the scariest things about the lack of invincibility in hard mode is that that also applies to Blind's fight, and because the Cane of Burna is one of those weapons that can damage Blind, you can be forced to do a 3-heart, no invincibility Cane of Burna Blind, and it's terrifying.
That sounds terrifying. And Cane of Burna with no invincibility. Ooh, saltyphry taking a death there to the mini Moldworms. I also believe on that laser bridge, did he find 3 keys?
Quite possible, because the Turtle Rock logic has been restructured around the fact that you can mirror in. So it is possible to get, for example, you can get Lamp on Laser Bridge, you can get Cane of Samaria on Laser Bridge, you can get the Big Key on Laser Bridge. It's quite interesting. And we pick up the worst boomerang in Ice Palace.
That was my favorite boomerang as a kid.
But now we know better.
Now we know better. So sad. saltyphry going back up, picking up that lamp. Not that he absolutely needs it, but it's always nice to have. He did get dead rocked earlier, so he wasn't able to get it immediately. He's going to drop down here and do Mimic Cave, just to be able to pull that item here. So let's see what that gives. And PRD looking like he's about to go to Ice Tea Room, since he's still missing an item. He doesn't want to have to come all the way back down here.
And so here we see another application of the mirror. You can use the mirror to go straight into the usual boss key, big key slash big chest entrance. And so that means that all of these items are in logic without the Cane of Samaria too. In particular, one item that is always immediately accessible in Turtle Rock if you have the mirror is the Chain Chomp's chest. So it's fun trying to get that if you only have bombs and a couple of hearts, and you're trying to get the Moon Pearl and Chain Chomp's chest, then you just die to the Chain Chomps over and over.
Inverted is not for the faint of heart. And the Cane of Samaria in the big key chest. Wow, what a place for it.
I can say that is definitely the first time I've seen the Cane of Samaria in that location.
I was just about to ask if Cane of Samaria there would be possible, and wow.
So that Cane of Samaria is pretty convenient for Salty. Now you can go check those first 3 chests in Turtle Rock. Meanwhile, PRD is in a rather harrowing hold stair fight. Only 2 hearts, taking damage, and ooh.
That is one of the worst places to hit. Wow.
That is going to require a long time investment to come back to later.
It seems, unfortunately for PRD, the list of double dips is starting to grow a little bit more than it probably wants to. Have to go back to ice, have to go back to pod. That was an interesting routing decision here. Do you know why he would take that route there?
Which route?
Going up through the Lost Woods to get into Kakariko? Oh, he doesn't have the mitts, that's what it was.
Because he wants to go to Kakariko, and yeah, you can't go get it in any other way.
Lost my head there for a second. Saltyphry taking a death here seems like it's going to be for more hearts, since he's able to restart right there in the dungeon, and it looks like he's going to take that Light World portal right back in. Maybe he's going to go do Hera now. Meanwhile, PRD is working his way back over to Pod, going to go slay the king, and cross that off the list of all dungeons that need to be done.
Something notable and inverted in all dungeons. Usually in an all dungeon seed, you might want to delay Aghanim as long as you possibly can, because if you can complete Aghanim at the very end, you're in a very convenient spot. What you do is you finish Ganon's tower, then you mirror to the entrance to Aghanim's tower, and you finish it right there. But because their locations are swapped and inverted, it's actually better to finish Aghanim's tower, which brings you to the top of Hyrule Castle, then go straight into Ganon's tower, and then do Ganon. So, if our runners don't remember to finish Aghanim's tower before Ganon, they might have to go all the way up to Aghanim's tower. Now, of course, what you can do is finish Ganon's tower and then go up to Aghanim's tower afterwards. But that might just make you feel a little bit disappointed that you can't just go straight to Ganon.
beautiful bomb jump there from PRD. Gonna be able to save himself some time for going through that dark maze twice. Very nicely done.
I thought PRD already got this chest.
He did not get the big chest. I think he already got these two chests.
He
though.
didn't get the big chest, but I thought he got
Right.
the dark maze chest.
Yeah, I think he
Looks
forgot.
a
that he
little
got those
a little
chests.
confused.
Yeah. That or he was looking for the death there. To go back to the beginning.
As far as how far in the lead is Salty, well, it's pretty difficult to tell. But if you look at the tracker and the difference in their inventories, it's pretty clear that he has a pretty solid advantage at this point, I think.
Yeah, you also have to mention that the one thing that saltyphry has over PRD, and that's just going to continue to add time, is that mirror. The mirrors in the dark room in Escape, in between going into Sanctuary and the actual castle, PRD did not go back there, break logic, and get that mirror. So the longer he takes from getting there, the farther behind he's going to fall.
Hang on a second. Salty is literally an ice rod from Go mode. And possibly boots. An ice rod and boots. Wow.
Yeah, at this point we're just waiting to see what exactly is needed for whether or not the big key is on the torch, and whether the Desert Palace, is boots locked. But otherwise, an ice rod. You were completely correct. So, we have a question in chat saying, what exactly does it mean when we say we break logic? So basically, there are minor glitches in the game or routes that you can learn, like the dark rooms, that allow you to go ahead of where the seed expects you to be and what items it expects you to get at what times. So whenever we mention breaking the logic, it's, when they do a fake flip or minor glitch and they're able to go, let's say for an example, to Hobo and get an item that they were supposed to wait until they got the flippers to get. That would be an example of breaking logic. So we're going to continue to see a little bit of convergence here. We have not seen the end of Ice Palace here. saltyphry has not dipped it, but saltyphry has also elected at this point to go ahead and get Agawon out of the way since he's already up here on Death Mountain. So we're going to see what Agawon has and how many blue balls he throws exactly at our runners here. Meanwhile, the big red dog will be working through his way through the big blue palace, getting all the way to Cold Stare and hoping that the fight goes a whole lot better than the first time that he tried it. Aghanim already being unkind, throwing a couple of blue balls his way. A third one in a row. And then lightning slashes here. A little bit of pause buffering coming from PRD to make sure that Ice Blast Bomb Jump goes through all right. Missed it by just about a pixel there.
Yeah, it is worth noting that the Aghanim patterns in the randomization are actually preset. So, assuming that our runners do not miss anything, they will get the same patterns for both seeds. But so far, that has been 5 blue balls. That's terrible. That's so bad.
It's horrible luck. And after he does his lightning attack, that one spear is guaranteed. And then he got 3 here in a row, so it would end up being too bad.
All right, I was afraid that it would be worse. I mean, 5 is okay. It's longer than average, but it could be a lot
15.
worse. 15 blue balls live on stream when?
I would just cry at that point.
If I remember correctly, the chance of 15 blue balls is extremely low. Okay, I just calculated the probability. It is 0.003%. So, which is something like 1 in 300,000 runs.
That is an amazingly low probability. PRD here getting started on this cold stare fight did not get the spin slash immediately, so he's gonna have to work around a little bit. Doing a great job. 2 puffs down at the same time. Let's see if he's able to hold off for this last puff. Fantastic refight from PRD. Great job. A couple rage slashes there at the end, and the last shield upgrade that they're going to be able to get. Good job. We are getting a new check from saltyphry there in Checkerboard Cave. Just a bundle of arrows, so nothing too big. And looks like he is going to use this book to get into a desert here and clear out this landmolus pit. PRD is going back into the light world. Let's see exactly where he goes from here. He still doesn't have a lamp, still missing that mirror in the back room of escape, so let's see if he's starting to head that way.
Wait a second. You actually do need mirror to get this, if I remember correctly. I'm not entirely certain where he's taking this. Yes.
I know.
Okay, so
yeah.
there's a change. Well, actually, the big bomb in general will never follow you through a save and quit. So you do actually need the mirror in order to deliver the big bomb to the pyramid. So an unfortunate 100 rupees down the drain there.
It's not like he can't afford it, it's just more of maybe at this point he's not sure exactly where he needs to go. And Desert was not boots locked as the map was on the torch, so we are going to be able to see the end of that from saltyphry here.
But we also did just get that hint in Desert Palace, informing us that there is a unique item in the Pyramid Fairy. And that could be significant. It could be the Ice Rod. You never know.
Salty's going to want to finish Ice Palace as soon as possible here.
At this point, Purity is really hurting for options. So I guess it looks like either, well, he probably won't do Dark Aghanim 1 at this point. Probably Super Bunny Cave is my guess.
That will at least make him feel a little better getting that hook shot and the cape, but it's still not going to lead him exactly where he needs to go. He's got to go into that dark room and escape. But maybe that, well, no, he doesn't, he can't get the lamp either. Man, he's in a rough position right now. Fantastic quick fight from Salty here with Lameless and gets rewarded with the boots. Wow.
And Purity just shot 7 arrows into the wall of Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, frustration must be mounted on PRD's side. God is, where is the siege trying to send me? Where is it? So thinking about the logic, you do need to have the mirror to get the lamp, correct? No, because you have the lamp to get the mirror. Sorry, I meant opposite. But did you need Titan's mitts to get in there? How exactly are you supposed to get that lamp from the light world?
What you would do is, from Dark Death Mountain, you would go up to the portal, to the light world. Then you would hookshot across the broken bridge, and then go up through Paradox Cave, and you can get the lamp from there.
And that does seem like where he's headed, so let's hope that he gets that lamp, starts thinking about areas that are lamp locked that he hasn't been able to get, and it leads him to that mirror. saltyphry getting that big key pretty much immediately here, and Meyer gonna head directly down to Vitreous, see if he has the item that we need. Another change you just saw there on saltyphry's screen in hard mode, Magic Powder and Anti-Fairy does not in fact get you a fairy to drop, but just 1 heart, because hard mode.
And there's a cool strat where if you come in from the big key entrance and you have the hookshot, you can just hookshot the chest, grab it, and then fall. That'll put you back at the back over at the door. No hovering required.
saltyphry going to make his way in here into Vitreous. Looks like he's going to be using some cape strats to get some good spin slashes here on these eyeballs. You see just how quickly that magic cape drains here, but he does have that green potion. Going to give it a couple another notches here.
But it should also be noted that potions have been nerfed in hard mode as well. They will only restore half of what they usually do. So in this case, you can see that the green potion only restored half of its magic meter. Similarly, if you have a red potion, it's only going to restore half of your hearts instead of the full thing.
He did take a couple of hits, but not too bad at all there. So we know Ice Rod can't be on pedestal. We know that it's not in Turtle Rock or in Ice. So what we have left is Swamp.
Yeah, pretty much just Swamp, and then we're heading over to Ganon's Tower. An Ice Rod in Ganon's Tower would be quite exciting.
Personally, I'm hoping for left side Swamp.
So did Salty get both items in Misery Mire, or did he skip one? Because I know Vitreous had the heart container.
He might have skipped one, but there might have also been a hint that we didn't catch, telling him what items were on the left side of Mire. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, see if that's a possible location as well. Our tracker did confirm with us that there hasn't been a Misery Mire hint as of yet, so he might have just left the item behind, hoping that it was in one of these 6 locations here available in Swamp. Now we've got chat saying that there was a bottle hint for Mire, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, see if that's something that we get to catch on PRD's side. We do have saltyphry making his way here through Swamp Palace. He's going to be showing us a couple of extra chests, hoping that the Ice Rod is in there. Meanwhile, PRD is going to go up and kill Aga 1 as is required with all dungeons. If you are joining us here recently, do go ahead and give these amazing runners a follow. They're doing an absolutely outstanding job. We are playing Inverted all dungeons hard mode seed. Inverted, of course, where you start in the dark world and need the moon pearl to get into the light world, changing exactly where item locations can be, and a lot of the routing and logic with the seed As far as hard mode is concerned, the biggest changes being that the highest sword you can get is tempered, highest armor you can get is blue armor, anti-fairies will no longer be powdered and give you a fairy, it'll give you just 1 heart, potions only work half, cape is, for the most part, double magic drain, a lot of things that have been added for hard mode. Also in silvers will only work in cannons roof. Right now we're seeing an absolutely amazing fight from saltyphry here, taking down all the little puffs from Argus, just waiting for Argus to come through, while PRD makes his way through this tower.
And a just barely missed Argus Phase 2 quick kill from Salty, finishing up Swamp Palace, and only has 1 more crystal left to go in Ice Palace. But since this is an all-dungeon siege, we do need the Ice Rod in order to finish Turtle Rock and actually be able to kill Ganon.
With 2 items left here on the left side, it looks like he's going to leave them and maybe go directly into Ice Palace before checking anywhere else. That's actually logically not a bad idea. We know the Ice Rod's not in there, but it's a good call from saltyphry.
In addition, there are a bunch of hints in Ice Palace. It could be possible that one of those hints has the West Side Swamp hint.
PRD going through a really nice Aggle 1 fight, and we're seeing saltyphry here just getting his way through Ice Palace. We're still waiting for PRD to go and get that mirror in the dark room there in Escape. He walked right past where he needs to be, and this is just heartbreaking to watch here on this side.
Wait, did PRD buy the big bomb again? And
yes.
Oh my.
But it looks like he's heading back into the palace. Is he going for it? Oh yes. Oh, PRD, go for it.
And finally going to pick up that mirror. That thing which has been blocking his forward progress for so long.
Couple of rage slashes, hookshot pings there, immediately equipping that mirror. If you're PRD, how are you feeling right now?
Honestly, that is quite possibly the worst thing that could have happened at that point. Just like, wow, my opponent must have found this an hour ago. Like, how am I possibly going to win now? I'd have to take some insane gamble. But honestly, I am not confident that any level of gamble could save PRD now, unless, like, go moding all dungeons. That might work.
And even then, he still needs to find the Cane of Samaria in the big key chest in Turtle Rock, which was just an amazing play from saltyphry there to do that. And instead, he's going to go into Swamp. And I'm with you. I'm not sure any level of gamble will be able to really bring him back into this one, barring some real trolly ice rod locations. But it does appear like saltyphry is taking that unique item in Pyramid Fairy and going there. There's not many locations for him to check afterwards, so I'm not sure just how much it would be if Pyramid Fairy doesn't have it. Just how long will it be until he puts off left side swamp check if it's there?
This routing is pretty good too. You can just go straight here, pick up the Pyramid Fairy, and then go back into your mirror portal and head to GT for the great chest density over there. There are 20 chests in Ganon's Tower that can have items, and the Ice Rod could be in one of them. Okay. Wait, he's not going to check the other one? Oh, right, he knows what it is, because the hint gave us both items.
Correct. So now we have the chance that it's in GT.
So the way that Ganon's Tower works is that there is a preset junk fill, which fills anywhere from 0 to 15 of the chests in Ganon's Tower with junk items. So that means that there is, at minimum, 5 chests that can contain the Ice Rod, and at maximum, there are 20. So personally, I would think that the Ice Rod hunt is a good bit more important than your classic GT big key guessing game.
So what chest do you think the Ice Rod's going to be in?
I think it's in Tile Room.
Can it be in Moldorm 2 chest?
Absolutely.
I'm going with Moldorm 2 chest. Ooh, big chest is another good one.
Yeah, so if you want to guess for the Ice Rod instead of the big key, there are 27 chests in Ganon's Tower. So guess from, let's see, we've already gotten, at this point, this is 6. So guess anywhere from 7 to 27.
Yeah, Moldorm 2 would be the 27th chest.
Or possibly Tile Room, depends on whether...
Right, whether he checks it or not first.
Because of the way that we've replaced things in Inverted, finishing Ganon's Tower actually puts you right outside of Ganon's Tower, so skipping Tile Room is not a big deal, you can just go back and check it. Hey, there's the Bombos Medallion.
It's a really nice fight for PRD with Argus. And he's got his next crystal. Let's see where he's heading off to now. It's going to be the next trolly thing for him is going to be that Cane of Samaria.
Depends on whether PRD can hover. I don't know if PRD is capable of hovering or can hover that massive gap to Trinix, but if he can, that might be a point in favor of going to Turtle Rock. Looks like he's going in the right direction.
And looking at everything now, it really is the next play for him going into Turtle Rock. Seeing as Desert is book locked and the book is on Laser Bridge.
Salty trying to bonk over that teleporter there, but unfortunately not managing to get on the right pixel window. It's possible to just angle your bonk so that you slide past the wall and bonk over the teleporter, but it's not really too bad if you fail it. You just have to sit through the teleporter animation 2 times, and checking the big chest before going to Ice Armors, which is not something you see too often.
And nothing down there. It looks like he's heading straight up the tower. He might come back for tower room, so that'll end up being 27 if the ice rod is in there. Wow, it's an amazing placement of this ice rod.
It's always possible that the ice rod could just be in left side swamp this entire time.
Now, saltyphry has made some really good calls. Logic breaking for that mirror, doing Turtle Rock as soon as he can to get the, clearing most of Turtle Rock, getting the cane and everything like that. So I'm guessing he won't feel too far behind, but it does at least put the thought in your head of, where is my opponent? Did he do left side swamp?
PRD about to pick up this wonderfully placed Cane of Samaria.
That really is just the best place I've ever seen it. Mostly because I'm not playing.
Hahaha, yeah. I mean, I think I've seen Cane of Samaria in Chain Chomps before, which I think is like a maybe slightly better place for it, because it's just deeper in Turtle Rock.
So saltyphry making his way through the gauntlet shouldn't be much of a problem, as this is one of the most practiced parts of the run for any runner. So we should be seeing him here with some really nice strats and getting through this no problem. PRD is checking the rest of Turtle Rock, seeing what other treasures he can get out of here, and making his way through to the Fire Rod room. He's got the book, so the next logical places would be Misery Mire and Desert Palace, since he's not going to be able to find the Ice Rod here. So he's still just a little bit behind. Salty just looking for that elusive Ice Rod.
We are coming up now on chests 23 through 26 of Ganon's Tower, which are the mini Helmasaur chests in the room just after this torch room, plus the pre-Moldorm chest and the post-Moldorm chest. And there's a mushroom. Oh my goodness.
Do you like fetch quests?
No. I mean, that ice rod on mushroom, that would be something.
And it's not on mushroom because it's in chest 25. My god, that ice rod placement. Wow.
Absolutely amazing.
It's not the mushroom that I was hoping for when I saw it, but I'm still not disappointed.
And yes, that ice rod is go mode for Salty, which is approximately at 1 hour and 48 minutes and 30 seconds ish. And just for completeness, to open the final chest in Ganon's Tower, just for blue rupees.
So one of the last things we haven't seen the silvers. Do you think Trinex has the silvers?
That would be amusing. Although silvers are actually not very helpful in hard mode, because you can't equip them outside of Ganon's room. So even if we had the silvers from the very start of the seed, they would actually be completely useless until the moment we fell into Ganon's room.
Absolutely correct. It does make Ganon a little bit easier, but these runners have practiced enough for a non-silver Ganon fight, so they should have absolutely no problems.
And we have Salty heading up Death Mountain one final time. Not to go to Ganon's Tower, but to go to Turtle Rock and finish off Trinix. Meanwhile, we have PRD going through Desert Palace in the second half of the dungeon, going to take on Lion Molus, finish them off, get his boots.
So as we're nearing the end, we're seeing saltyphry coming up here. He's going to make his way into the end and try and fight. What is the one item that you think in this seed threw the most crazy, bizarre place for it? Do you think it was the cane, or do you think it was the mirror? I know that, but they both found the cane pretty easily, but that's definitely not a normal location for it.
I don't know. I'm a little bit numb to weird item locations from playing glitched modes, but that cane was something, honestly. Like, a cane in Turtle Rock is always really annoying for those of us who are incapable of hovering.
I agree completely. And while the mirror threw PRD off, that cane would have haunted my nightmares.
Also, we don't have mitts, which is interesting. We don't need mitts to finish most inverted seeds, just because we have ways of getting around it, and only one location actually hard requires mitts. So my question is, where are the mitts?
Pedestal. I'm guessing pedestal. Not on Trinex.
Okay, so for the third time, PRD buys the big bomb, and now he's actually going to finally deliver it properly.
And we might see some more rage slashes when he sees the cane of Berna.
Salty, where are you going? No muscle memory. You don't have to go to Ganon's tower, you already did it. He's gonna get there, and it's gonna be open, and he's gonna be like, wait, oh, okay, that makes sense.
What?
So,
Enlighten us.
He went to the light world so that he can save and quit straight to the Ganon hole.
Ah, that does make sense. Really smart routing there.
And so here we are up against Ganon, and we are seeing a 1-1 cycle Ganon from Salty, in which so he didn't have the hookshot equipped, because usually you'd have hookshot equipped from the Moldorm 2 gap, but I guess he didn't. Oops.
Well, definitely an oops, but he's going to need about 20 more oops before it really starts becoming a problem at this point.
It is worth noting that he's fighting Ganon with a maximum of 9 hearts, and hugging Ganon deals 6 damage to Blue Mail. So that is a little bit scary, especially since after a death, you start with 6 hearts.
Just enough for a hug to kill you. Ooh, that was really close on that bat.
That was really close on that one too.
The clench is real.
The arrows in White World. Okay, silver arrows are probably on pedestal, honestly. That's my guess.
Yeah, I can't really think of a single... Oh, did we ever check Bonk Rocks?
I don't think so. I'm still holding out for
Rock.
silvers on pedestal.
Okay, alright. I'm going with mitts on pedestal, silvers and Bonk Rocks. Or on mushroom.
Yeah, we will see the mushroom as well. Could be silvers on mushroom.
Oh, chat bringing up a good point. Sasha might have them.
And the final silver was hit on Ganon. And the pig is down.
Absolutely fantastic fight, practiced to absolute perfection. Wonderful time here with saltyphry.
Yeah. GG to Salty.
GG. And as per normal, we're going to see if we're going to be able to get these the runners in for an interview. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, go ahead and just drop them in chat. I'll make sure to get them out to the runners. Do you have the official time?
I do not. I will try to get it though. Okay, I was unable to get the official time, because I think the race room has closed. But we do have Salty in the setup channel, so we can just ask him when he comes in.
Sure can. Let me go let him know it's okay to come in.
And we see here the arrow honing service on the witch. That is the silver arrows. So we now know that silver arrows are indeed on the witch.
Nice. saltyphry is here joining us. GG saltyphry.
Thank you very much.
And he did let us know that the official time was actually 1:57:14, exactly like it shows on his timer. Salty, crazy seed, a little bit over the top. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Some kind of crazy item locations there, whether it was the ice rod all the way at the top of GT there. I honestly thought it was going to be that mushroom right before there that was going to lead to that ice rod, or whether it was the cane in Turtle Rock. That's the first time I've actually seen that in inverted. So that kind of throws you for a loop, and even the boots being on land molas when you're not sure if you can even without them. So a lot of little things that were kind of all over the place in this one.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you that the Samaria placement was the one that I thought was the craziest, because I've never seen the Samaria be there before. I didn't even know it was possible to be there, so I'm glad that you were able to check it so early. Do you feel like you struggled anywhere, or anywhere in your route you would have changed?
I don't know. I can't really think I could have changed a whole lot. I mean, I more or less go-moded Swamp and Ice, counting on the Ice Rod being in GT. So I don't know if I could have done a whole lot more to kind of press it other than that. Like when the Ice Rod's in GT, you're going to full clear a lot of stuff, it feels like. Overall, it feels like my routing was pretty solid. I mean, I went to Eastern, and when I was in there, I was really, really hoping I could get a sword so I could turn around and go right into Pod and complete it no problem. If I didn't have a sword, getting through that dark room would have been a little iffier for me. I might have been able to do it. It would have taken a lot more time, probably. So that felt pretty good. It just seemed like I was kind of going the right way pretty much the whole time. I mean, I died to blind at the beginning, but that didn't really bother me. Like, I went in there, I said I got 3 hearts and the hammer. I'm probably not killing this anyway, so we'll give this one shot. If I fail, so be it. We'll go on, and hopefully blind doesn't have like the mirror or something really important right now that I need to kind of progress.
Yeah, and I agree. Your routing was very solid. Everything went through just fine. It's more of a question just to see, you know, if you feel like anything could have changed for you there. Now, in the blind fight, yeah, it was rough with 3 hearts, hammer. Both you and PRD attempted it, and neither of you, unfortunately, were able to get it on the first try. But it was way more than I would have done personally. I wouldn't have even tried it.
I figured I might as well just take blind there, because that way at least the next time I don't have to go all the way around and drag him back there. So like at least that way he's in the boss room. It's fairly quick to get there. Like especially with the flute, you can just flute to 3 and you're right on in the dungeon, which is pretty sweet.
Absolutely. We are seeing PRD going through Ganon's tower right now. He's currently in the lamp room. Silvers were on the mushroom.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of tough to get, I guess, then with everything being where it was, but that's not a big deal, really. In a seed like this, I mean, you can only use them on Ganon anyway, so if you got tempered, so be it. I mean, there's no point really going out of the way for them in that situation.
I agree with you there. Now, was this seed choice your choice?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And do you have any indication what PRD has in store for us for the next race?
I have no clue what he has planned. You'll have to ask him that. We don't actually have a second race planned yet between us. I got another race tomorrow morning in about 10 hours or so that is almost the exact same thing, just with a Uncle Force sword. But other than that,
The next race is going to be overworld glitches.
I was talking about my race that I got tomorrow morning.
I mean,
about 10 hours.
Between you and Purity. That's kind of a joke.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, that would be trouble. I'm not familiar with the overworld glitches myself, to be honest with you. So if he knows them and I didn't, that would be trouble. But yeah, I know that's not a thing.
Honestly, what really, like, the most critical item location in this seed turned out to be the mirror. Because you got it on your first pass through Hyrule Castle, and Purity did not. And
Yeah,
that wound up being a massive, massive decision maker throughout the entire seed.
Yeah, the mirror's really kind of a huge item, I find, in this mode, especially if you don't find the myths or something like that to get you into Turtle Rock, because it's kind of your key way in there. And I guess with the book and Kane both being in there, that could have been pretty rough. But yeah, I can see how you can easily miss that being in the dark room there. I just kind of felt like I might as well at that point in time go back there. I mean, I had a sword to kind of direct myself, and I had the fire rod to make finding the chest nice and easy as well.
Yeah, it really did make a huge difference. You found the mirror around 40 minutes. Actually, it says 41 minutes there. And he found it around, what, 120, 130?
Something like that.
So it made the biggest difference as far as time is concerned for there. I did get a question from chat for you. What is your favorite color?
Let's go with red, I guess.
There you go, chat. His favorite color is red. So first win, first race, first win, feels pretty good. Do you have any ideas what race seed you're gonna pick next?
Well, I do have my race tomorrow morning, which is basically the same thing, like I said, so I'm just going to kind of roll with the inverted. I've done a few inverted races leading up to this. I got a pretty decent feel for it, so maybe I've done a few more than most of the other people at this point in time, so it might be a slight advantage towards me. Because I know there's a lot of little quirks and stuff like that that definitely take some getting used to, especially at the beginning. Once you start to get items, it's not that bad, but at the beginning, it can take a little bit to figure out where stuff is. I remember I had one seed where the Moon Pearl was up on the floating island, and I ran around like an idiot for about 15 or 20 minutes before I could figure out where that was.
Yeah, your inverted play was definitely very solid here. I think it's a good choice, since a lot of people are not quite as familiar with inverted yet, to keep them on their toes.
Like I got a pretty good feel what to do right off the bat. Well, at least I got what I want to do. Like I know I almost always go right to Skull Woods, grab some supplies there, some bombs and magic, and hopefully find 20 rupees somewhere along the way so I can farm more rupees over at the arrow game. And I kind of got that down. I've practiced that a little bit so I don't waste time trying to farm rupees there, because you can get 200 rupees pretty quickly off that if you don't miss any arrow shots.
Yeah, and that was something that we saw you and PRD both do. The only difference was he checked the house first for the gloves, so that was pretty nice to see as far as routing for people who don't play inverted as much. So I'm guessing we're going to see that a little bit more. Are there any other tips that you would give somebody who's trying to start out on inverted or anything like that?
Mainly focus on figuring out how you're going to get your supplies right off the bat. Like, knowing how to get those rupees can be a real pain, because you never know when you're going to need 80 rupees to dig up something, or 110 rupees to get into pod, and there's not exactly a lot of great ways to get rupees, so learning how to do that arrow game, it's not too hard. Getting a hang of that is definitely a good place to start, I'd say.
Alright, we are seeing PRD here handle the Trinix fight. He does still have Misery Mire to go, so we're going to go ahead and continue watching him here.
I actually did learn one lesson in this seed when I got to Ganon. I completely forgot about the fact that I don't, like, you're so used to always having the hook shot when you just drop in there, and I completely forgot that I'd save and quit before getting in there, so I had the bow equipped, so I went to kind of use the hook shot to get through the fire bats, and I just fired an arrow and just ate the fire bats, which kind of threw me complete off and led to me dying that first time.
Yeah, we saw that immediately. The first thought was, well, we're used to having the hook shot there, and I'd be lying if it's something I said I've never done, because you've done it at least once, forgetting what item you have equipped there. But with the lead that you had, it would have taken another 20 falls before it would have even become a problem.
In general, I felt pretty good about where I was the whole race, and really until that very point. That was the first time I kind of felt like, oh, maybe this could be the thing that finally did it for me, because up to that point I felt like I'd routed pretty well. I skipped a few things here and there, and obviously none of them bit me. I was always a little worried about the left side of Swamp, because I actually did an all dungeons inverted seed race last night, and I skipped left side of Swamp, and that's where the ice rod was, so I full cleared the entire world, obviously, before I went back there.
Yeah, I was really hoping that it would be on left side Swamp, but PRD also skipped left side Swamp. And so it wouldn't have ended up saving any time for anybody, or it wouldn't have wasted any time, because you both would have had to gone back. I know when it got to the 20s, as far as the GT chests are concerned, it started getting a little uh-oh with it.
Well, actually, one thought I also had when I was running around GT checking everything is, after I got the big key, I was thinking maybe I should have just gone up the tower at that point in time and checked those chests since those are on the way. Just because of how everything's set up, like, you're just going to be brought back right to the start of Ganon's tower after you kill Aga 2 anyway, so you can just walk right back in there and then check everything in the basement if you didn't find the ice rod at the top. So I could have saved a bunch of time probably that way. But
Yeah,
that's just kind of one of those little optimizations that, like, pretty much never comes up because you're never searching for anything at that point in time, right?
Right, and we were thinking that that was the reason that you didn't do Tile Room, was you were like, you know what, I'll just come back in here if it's not up in the tower.
Yeah, I definitely thought of that for Tile Room. Like, that one seemed like a little more obvious just because it seems to take so long. But, like, I wasn't really thinking necessarily about the other side. But once I started checking everything, that's when I kind of started thinking about that. Maybe I should have just skipped this and gone up. But by that point in time, I'm already doing it. You don't really want to back out. You just want to stick to what you're doing. Hopefully it works out.
No, I absolutely agree with you. It would have been much more devastating to find it on, say, Big Chest or behind the Armos Knights if you had gone all the way up the tower as well, and you'd already done some of left side of GT.
So here, PRD is actually using an exploit of the game, where if you have your cape on and you swing your sword, the game isn't going to drain magic from you while you are swinging your sword. So if you mash fast enough, you can actually get away with using the cape for almost no magic drain. And that's how he was able to extend it for so long.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful Vitreous fight there. All right, Salty, well, we don't want to take up too much of your time. Did you have any final thoughts, or did you want to hang out with us while we finish watching PRD?
I think I will step out. I need to get a good night's sleep since I got a race in about 10 hours now. So I'll just say thanks to you guys for the commentary. Thanks for the restream. Thanks to the trackers. And have a good night, everyone.
Thank you to GG once again. Guys, that was saltyphry with his win here at 157.14, showing us exactly how you should be routing that inverted world with those weird items. GG once again, Salty.
And just in time for PRD to enter Ganon.
The Ganon fight, one of the most practiced fights going on for any runner of the randomizer. You're going to see some wonderful strats here. Let's hope that we're able to dodge all the bets. PRD moving on into phase 3 of Ganon here, and slowly working his way towards getting that golden power in his hands. Hits left here for PRD before we see the bacon go down. We'll see if he wants to come in for an interview right afterwards. And he is down. GG's in chat here for PRD. Coming through, timer stopping at 2:15:06. Great job from him. And we are going to get him in here for an interview. In 1 second here. PRD, GG.
GG.
Way to go.
Thanks,
great
guys.
finish of the seed. What did you think of the seed?
Yeah, I had some problems, I guess everyone could see.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a couple of things. I think, first of all, my execution wasn't really on point, which I needed it to be to have a chance in this fight, especially that cold stare death. I had already was a little bit flustered from pushing myself a little bit at the beginning of the game, like especially that blind fight and then trying to get through that dark maze.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was a little bit on tilt for the rest of the game, and it kind of affected me subtly.
Yeah, I completely understand that and the nerves of being in a race. The mirror. What did you think of the mirror location?
I mean, I made that gamble. I was like, I had kind of pushed everything earlier, and I didn't have the lamp at the time, So I was like, man, I'm just not feeling it. So I think I just need to skip this place, especially the first time. Like when I went into the back of Escape, I was like, nah, I'll just overrun this location. I'll just take that risk. And I mean, it turned out to have something really important, and that's kind of the way it goes.
Yep, nope, absolutely. When you make a gamble, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but at least you stuck with your gut. And in the randomizer, it's definitely important to at least listen to yourself when you're like, maybe not that. And even if it doesn't work out, at least you have, well, you didn't feel it at the time, and that's absolutely fine. Some Mario location. What did you think of that?
That one I kind of expected at the time. Like I didn't really have that many places to check at that point, so I knew there was going to be stuff at Turtle Rock. And when I found the book, I was like, well, I was probably in desert, but it turned out to be in Turtle Rock. That part was fine. I was more thrown off by the hook shot and the Pyramid Fairy. So those are the two locations that I think hurt me the most unnecessarily. And the reason for that is because whoever programmed the logic for this tracker that I'm using is an idiot and like totally led me astray. Like I thought that the hook shot was out of logic. Like I didn't realize that you could use the flute to get there. And that's why I put it off for so long. I was like, well, when I find the lamp, then maybe I'll go check it. And then also, I mean, you saw me like just messing around with the bomb a bunch of times because I wasn't really sure how to how to open it up.
Yeah, the bomb no longer follows you through a save and quit. Well, it never actually did. So the only way to get the Pyramid Fairy is actually with the mirror.
Yeah, which I eventually figured it out. As a side note, totally unrelated, I'm using my own tracker.
Oh.
but besides that, whoever did this tracker is like a real idiot,
Okay.
I was like, man, he's throwing shade at this tracker maker.
But hats off to saltyphry. I mean, he picked a really good mode, I think, that played to his strength and highlighted some of the weaknesses I had. I was hoping he wouldn't at the time because we had just done an inverted daily just like last week, and I totally beat him on that. So I was like, oh, maybe that'll scare him off a little bit, but I guess not.
Yeah, he was he gambled on that mirror play really early, and that got him the ability to just move through the seed at a stupid pace, especially with as crazy of the locations as they were, and as long as you guys were without a sword and everything like that. So absolutely tough seed, but I mean, I still think you guys did an amazing job. Now you're going to be able to pick the seed for the next race, correct?
Yeah, for our next matchup, yes.
Do you have any idea what you're gonna go with?
I like Espion's idea of a no logic seed.
Yeah, that'll definitely get you a win. It's also banned.
But no, I don't know yet. I'm treating this kind of like for fun. I took it seriously during qualifiers, and I accomplished what I wanted to do, which was to get into groups. And I don't really want to play groups very seriously, because if like I could maximize my chances to try to get into the brackets, but then once I get in the bracket, like whoever I'm paired up against is just going to smash on me, and then I'm not going to have any fun throughout the whole tournament. So I kind of want to take the attitude of like, I'm in groups, this is my chance to just like have fun, run races, just do interesting stuff. So I don't know, maybe I'll just pick a random mode and just see what happens, or I don't know yet.
That's actually a really good way of looking at it.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Do inverted retro.
And the reasoning?
It's random.
Can you add retro to inverted? I thought they said inverted had to be straight.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, really?
Once you pick inverted, you can't have a variation.
I thought it was just inverted and Randomizer.
No, I don't think you're allowed to do Randomizer either.
Yeah, and Randomizer is like a quote-unquote variation for the purposes of the tournament. No, just pick retro then. Retro's fun.
Retro is fun.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't mind that.
Well, that's good. Well, if as long as chat doesn't have any questions, Espeon, you got anything else for PRD?
I think I'm good. I've been talking for like 5 hours straight. My voice is really tired.
I got you. PRD, you got any final thoughts about the seed or anything else you'd like to say?
Nope, I had a fun time running through the seed. I mean, yeah, I got a little bit frustrated, I guess, at the end, like where the items were, but I still tried to keep it light, and I hope everyone enjoyed the race that we put on. So thanks for watching. Thanks for putting this on.
Yeah, it was absolutely enjoyable, and you guys both did a great job. And don't be hard on yourself about the placements. It would have tripped up a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is going to do it for us. Guys, this has been an inverted hard all dungeon seed qualifier. saltyphry did take it home with a 157-14. GG's to him, and GG's to prdwong, sticking it out, finishing those last couple of dungeons. That was an amazing call not to forfeit there and just play through, giving you guys a little extra randomizer. And we're pretty much done here. Want to say thank you to the trackers. If you got the tracker, I'm sorry. If you guys want to follow his Tau Decay, he is an absolutely amazing tracker. Also, if you want to follow Espeon, my co-commentary did an absolutely fantastic job. As per we've been telling you this whole time, follow the runners. They're absolutely fantastic. You'll learn a ton from them. And not only execution, but routing, decision making, all those things. So please go ahead and do that. And keep an eye out for all of the SG channels and a link to the past randomizer channels that are going to have the races going on for this fall tournament. I'm really looking forward to all of this. With that, say goodnight to you guys. I have been Sarcasm Powered.
And I've been Espeon.
And I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful night.